This is the NBA Rundown brought to you by Nuke the House. Interesting night in the NBA last night. Both favorites won. Both favorites failed to cover as the Milwaukee Bucks had a nice win over the Spurs, yet they couldn't cover the 11-point spread. And then the Denver Nuggets. Well, technically, if you bet the opener, it was minus 2.5 when it opened, but most people, by the time they got around to it, it was 3.5 or 4, and the Golden State Warriors get the cover. Now, takeaways from the Nuggets game. I need to talk about what's going on with Jonathan Kuminga because that kind of shocked me here this morning and really showed you what a mess this two timelines has become with the Golden State Warriors. They've already jettisoned James Wiseman, and they blew that pick. Now, we look at this Jonathan Kuminga situation. This is a team that needs athleticism and needs players that can attack the rim. I mean, it's a jump shooting team, and yet he simply can't get minutes. Let's go ahead and look for him to just come out on Steve Kerr like that. What a surprise here. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see a major shakeup here with the Warriors, as I've also heard rumors that there's no interest in bringing back Draymond Green. So we're thinking about the Golden State Warriors here and what a tough situation that is. How will they respond tonight? I think that's interesting. Is Kerr going to react to the criticism? Because I'd say that some of the criticism is fair. Kuminga was playing well. Kuminga has consistently played well. And I talk about not letting young players learn through their mistakes, right? Cade gets to learn through his mistakes. Paulo got to learn through his mistakes last year. They've definitely given Jalen Green a long leash out there in Houston to go ahead and learn from these mistakes. Yet, and it turns out maybe Wiseman just isn't it. But you look at what's going on with Kuminga and Moody, and there needs to be a little bit of sacrifice on the Warriors' end where they get away from an optimal lineup in order to develop these young athletic players. What does this team need? The team needs athleticism on the wings, and they don't even need to trade for it. They have it on their bench, and they failed to capitalize on it. You know, Phil Jackson was a coach that never rebuilt a team. He quit Chicago when he knew that Jordan would leave, and he waited until he had a team that was ready to go for the championship in the Lakers with Kobe and Shaq. I think he realized my strength is communicating with superstar players and getting good teams to become great/championship teams. I think there's other coaches that are the exact opposite. Let's go ahead and look at Mark Jackson, for example. Mark Jackson did a great job of taking a Warriors franchise that had been moribund for over 20 years. They hadn't been good since Run TMC. And for those who don't know, that was Tim Hardaway, Mitch Richmond, and Chris Mullin. And I'll bet you a lot of people watching this stream don't even know who those players are, which shows you how long it had been since the Warriors had been good. Mark Jackson taught the fundamentals of defense to the big three of the Warriors and put that defensive system in. Steve Kerr came in, same thing with Phil Jackson and the Lakers. He said, okay, I'm going to take this pretty good team that has the tools, and I'm going to switch up the offense a little bit. He installed a motion offense rather than Mark Jackson's 90s Knicks offense, right, run by Jeff Van Gundy. And with that offensive creativity, being able to use the fundamentals he learned under Jackson and Greg Popovich, he turned the team into a winner. But there's a difference between being able to develop players and being a championship coach. And I believe in the NBA, this is the most evident. I would say in the NFL, player development is so important. Yet in the NBA, we have issues here where you need to be able to develop players if you're going to be a championship coach. So it might be time for Kerr to move on, and it might be time for this team to look in another way. Will Kuminga get traded? It looks like it's that way. It looks like it's run its course here And Kerr's not going to be the one to give Kuminga the support to become the player that he could become. Remember, guys, he's only 21 years old. He's only 21 years old. Look how many players have come into their own later in their career. Look at Kristaps Porzingis, a player that I thought was just full of empty stats and was never going to be on a championship team. Now he's part of arguably the best roster in the NBA, and he's showing he can contribute on a championship team. The fact that he's in his late 20s, does that surprise me? No. Look how long it took Lauri Markkanen to develop. Another player. I think that you give up on these guys too soon, but I think it's going to take a change of scenery for Kuminga, and that's the situation we have here. I was hoping to have a more live stream today. Where'd everyone go? Anyways, if you're here with me and you're watching, throw some stuff in the chat. I think it'll make the show more interesting rather than me simply talking off the top of my head. So any other comments about last night, throw those in the chat. I'll address those. Any questions about tonight's slate? We're going to go through the games one by one right now. The Cleveland Cavaliers are -10. They're at home against the woeful Washington Wizards. You guys like that alliteration? Total 237.5. Oh, you guys can tell I'm feeling a little better from my cold today too. So you'll get a little of that the energy, right? Back to being normal. Excited about that. But let's look at this Washington and Cleveland game. Cleveland has won the last 5 meetings between these two franchises. Doesn't surprise me. Cleveland's been pretty good. Washington's been pretty bad. The total's gone over in Cleveland's 6 of their last 7 home games, but the under has hit in 7 of Washington's last 10 matchups with Cleveland. That didn't surprise me because Cleveland is a team that their totals are pretty low. A lot of Cleveland games are 218, 222. So we're sitting at a 237.5. And I talked about a lot of times the teams with the faster pace can goad the slower pace team into playing in their pace, which is why sometimes in these mid-range numbers between a fast-paced team and a slow-paced team like we have with the Wizards and the Cavaliers, I would lean towards the over here. However, I do believe the Cavaliers are not going to get suckered in to playing that up-and-down lifestyle. Cavaliers have a much better half-court offense. A slower game suits them. They don't want to get into shootout with Washington. Washington can't really defend, so they need to take advantage of that. If they get into a huge transition game, they're going to negate their transition advantage. I'm going to go ahead and throw these numbers in while I'm doing the show. Like I said, I was hoping to have a little more interaction with the chat. So, guys, give me some numbers in here, and I'm going to go ahead and punch my numbers in right now and let you know what else we got while I pull those up because I can't even figure out where I put that tab. Too many tabs open once again. Welcome to the NBA Rundown. On the Washington side, I see nobody on the injury report. And we've had some situations here with the Cavaliers. Darius Garland out. He's going to be out till, well, it's pretty close now. I think January 7th. Ty Jerome still out. Evan Mobley still out. And Ricky Rubio, who has yet to play this season. And if I remember right, I believe that he put out something last night. Might be close to retiring. So, Tyler, what's up, buddy?
Awesome.
All right. I was just going over the Wizards and the Cavaliers. You didn't miss much. I talked about the Kuminga deal a little bit. Did you see that? Did you have any thoughts about it?
I don't even know what you're talking about, Spread. Been up for 5 minutes.
Kuminga basically came out and said he doesn't believe that he has a future under Steve Kerr and was really frustrated with the amount of time that he's got. So, could be troubles there in Golden State. Not much to make of it overall. I mean, there's going to be that. Finally, there's going to be some moves there. And I wouldn't be surprised if Draymond Green went out the door as well. But it looks like Kuminga will be moving on. We won't talk about it too much, Tyler, because I know you just woke up. But I think it's something to factor in when we do get to that Golden State game tonight, because I'm not sure how it affects Steve Kerr. I don't know if he's going to try and placate him or if he's going to feel betrayed and it's just over between those two men. But let's go back to the Wizards and the Cavaliers, Tyler. I have this as a 13.5-point Cavaliers win. Cavaliers laying 10, and I got this pretty close to the number. What do you think about this one?
I'd probably just lean Cavs. I don't think I'd bet it. And
I don't think so either.
Yeah, maybe I'd take.
We got a huge slate.
Maybe I'd take Washington's team total under.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Here we go. Now the chat's with me. Wow. Are you surprised, Tyler, that once again the Lakers fans have turned on their coach?
No, I mean, there's like one coach they haven't turned on.
Yeah, and I talked about him to start the show. Who do you think is going to do better with that roster, Jonathan Nelson, that's available? Like, obviously, Spoelstra would do better, right? I don't think that he's available. Like, who are you going to get that's available? Who's the best available coach? Doc Rivers? Is there any good available coaches right now, Tyler, that I'm leaving out?
No, I don't think so.
What do you do? Get Luke Walton over again? All right, Jonathan Nelson, tell me who you want as coach, and I'll be interested to see. Please don't write Los Angeles has had enough of that. The Atlanta Hawks are +3 in Indiana, taking on the Pacers. Tyler, new highest total on the board, 262. The old man in me wants to click under, and it'll probably go over. The total's gone over the 11 of the last 12 times these two teams have played. The total's gone over 4 of the last 5 times. Atlanta visited Indiana. Indiana 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 games, although those were all 5 against the Bucks probably. I mean, the way that schedule turned out. You know, the Bucks have had 40% of their losses this season against the Pacers.
Yeah, they lost 4 times to them.
Yeah, unbelievable there. I'm going to throw the numbers here on the sheet. Tyler, let me know what you think of the Pacers and the Hawks, who have been playing pretty well since your guy Jalen Johnson returned to the lineup.
Yeah, this is another one. I probably don't touch it. I'm not touching that total. I'm damn sure not betting it under. Atlanta's played better, but they're still a bad team, and without Hunter, I don't like them. And you still got questionable tags on the other side, so I probably
who's questionable on the other side?
Bruce Brown and Andrew Nembhard.
All right, I have this as a 5-point win by the Pacers. That's the way I'd look here. I have this at 255. So I don't know. I don't want to get involved in the total. If anything, I would bet the Pacers here.
Yeah, I gotta look more at it, but that's probably where I would be.
Okay. Clyde, not happy. You want Byron Scott. Are you being serious? Wasn't he your coach and did everyone hate him? All right. Anyone? All right. I'll take Jonathan Nelson as coach of the Lakers. Sign me up. Maybe Yego can jump in there. The New York Knicks. Oh, wait. No, hold on. The Utah Jazz are in Boston taking on the Celtics. The total is 239.5. The Celtics are favored by 14.5. Tyler, that seems like a lot, but I have this projected as a 15.5 point Celtics win. I have this game at 237 on the it's up to 239 now. What do you think of this one, Tyler? I wasn't too excited about it.
Yeah, of all the games, I think it's the least fun one to touch.
Interesting. Okay. Utah is 6-1 against the spread in their last 7 games. This is the healthiest they've been all season. And they're starting to look a tad bit formidable. Boston's won their last 5 home games, and the total's gone over in 7 of Boston's last 8 games. The New York Knicks are +6 in Philadelphia, taking on the 76ers. The total's 231.5. Tyler, I've heard some interesting arguments on both sides. I know a lot of people didn't like the trade. I think it was a good trade for the Knicks. Are you happy about it? I know we discussed it before, but remind me.
I mean, I haven't really watched them play with them yet. I know they won the 2 games, but I didn't get to see much of it. So
I think both teams have won all the games since the trade.
Yeah, I can't give you a full assessment. I just know they've won both games with them. I haven't watched it yet.
I mean, for a defensive-minded team, you add one of the best defensive wings, and I think that it's lifted the defensive intensity of a team that had it right when Tibbs got there, and maybe they were starting to tune out the message. And it, to me, it just covers up so many of Julius Randle's defensive weaknesses. And the shitty part is I think Julius Randle, I've seen him play good defense. He just doesn't do it. And it's so weird that Tibbs lets him get away with it. So I've heard good arguments on both sides. Obviously, the Knicks playing much better since the trade, but this seems like an ideal Philadelphia spot. The total's gone over in 10 of New York's last 13 road games. Philly 7-1 against the spread in their last 8 games at home. When I'm looking at this injury report, Tyler, I see. Where is this? There's a lot of games tonight. Oh, I love how they do 2 last night and then 40,000 tonight. Only on the Knicks side, Malachi Flynn. I'm sorry. Am I even on the right freaking day? Can you pull up this injury report for me, Tyler?
Yeah, Malachi Flynn, Robert Covington, and Furkan Korkmaz all Q tags, and DeAnthony Melton's out.
Okay. What do you think of this one, Tyler? I didn't want to get involved because I feel like I don't know exactly how good the Knicks are.
Yeah, I'm staying away from this one. Looking at those recent matchups, the Knicks either win outright or they get blown out. So if I'm taking the Knicks, I'm taking their money line.
Okay.
But I don't trust them in this matchup against Philly, so probably stay away from them. I don't want to bet Philly.
Our guy. Perfect rotation in the chat. I've been seeing a lot of your picks. You've been doing well there. So go ahead and give him a follow on Twitter, especially if you're looking for some college basketball plays. The Oklahoma City Thunder are -5 in Brooklyn taking on the Nets. Interesting spot for the Thunder, right? They have that huge win over Boston at home. They travel to Atlanta. It was a terrible spot for them playing a rested Atlanta team. Atlanta jumps out to a huge lead. The Thunder actually fight back and push that game way over, only lose by 3 points. So the Thunder have definitely been playing a lot of basketball. They're playing a Brooklyn team. I'm going to pull Brooklyn up, Tyler. How long have they been home for? Is this the middle of an extended homestand, or are they just getting back home?
I think they just got home.
Yeah, I got to refresh my memory on that one. Let me pull that up. While I do that, do you want to go over the injury report, and then we'll talk about what's going on?
Yeah, the injury report's clean. Just 2 probable tags, Dennis Smith and Lonnie Walker is what I'm seeing. So nothing on the injury report in this one.
Okay. Brooklyn comes into the game losers of 5 straight. Of course, there was some fatigue, especially in that last game against Houston, which is why we like them so much. But this is the dreaded first game home on a road trip, which makes me look to our OKC. OKC has had a day to rest. I guess the travel's not that too much. I guess my main concern would be that's 2 party cities, Atlanta and New York. Especially for a team doing well. I don't know. My projections like the Nets. Well, let me put them in. I haven't put them in yet. But my guess is they're going to like the Nets. But I'm thinking the other way, Tyler. I don't trust this Brooklyn team, and I think that they got off to a nice start, but they might not be as good as they've shown. What do you think?
Yeah, I'd rather be on OKC here. I mean, OKC does well against these non-conference opponents. They're coming off a loss. They got a little bit of rest after that game. I think they bounce back with a big win right here.
Yeah, I don't know. How do you feel about laying 5, though, especially after we got burned last night on that Denver play?
I'm not worried about it.
Really? You think they blow them out, huh?
Yeah, I mean, I think OKC is a much better team. The last time they lost the game, they came back and won the next game by 23. So.
That's a good point. Who was that against?
They lost to the Lakers, came back and beat Minnesota by 23.
Oh, okay. That's against a good team. All right.
And the and they were -3.5 in that game.
All right. Let's table that one for consideration. What do you think?
I think we should make it a play, but we could table it if you want.
I don't think the line's going to move against us. Do you? It was 5.5 earlier.
No, I don't think it goes against us.
So that's why I don't think we're in a hurry to get that one in. Let's talk through the rest of the card, but I definitely can be intrigued there. Hold on, I'm just checking some numbers real quick because I was surprised about this next projection I put in. Anyways, while I do that, we'll go on and I get your breakdown and see if I can figure this out. But this was not the projection I was worried about. The Los Angeles Clippers are -1 in New Orleans, taking on the Pelicans. The total is 230.5. Tyler, I have the Pelicans winning this straight up, but I've struggled to handicap this team. I see Trey Murphy as a game time division, Matt Ryan out, and Diabate, who's a player I'm not familiar with, over there out for the Clippers. Clippers have been playing so well. I can't get a handle on the Pelicans. I defer to you on this one. How do you see this?
It'd probably be Clippers or pass for me just because how they performed on the road. But this is a bad matchup for them. So they're 0-7 ATS in their last 7 against this Pelicans team. Pelicans are going to have the size on them. So I probably end up staying away from this one.
All right. Yeah, I like to back the Clippers, but I don't think this is a good number. I don't see why they're favored on the road.
No, I agree.
All right. If I had to play it, though, I'd take the Pelicans. I just can't get a handle on that team. Hopefully, by this time next week, I'll feel more confident handicapping the New Orleans Pelicans. The Charlotte Hornets are +9.5. They're taking on the Chicago Bulls. Tyler, the talk of this game. Oh, wait, I don't see him here in the expected lineup. What have you heard about Zach LaVine?
Nothing.
I thought he was returning tonight.
I thought he got signed to like the G League or something.
Wait, what? All right, let me look that up right now. Talk about this game while I confirm that, because I thought he was going to be in.
Yeah, I got nothing on that. I'm not laying
down. CBS Sports, he's returning tonight.
Okay. That doesn't affect my handicap at all in this game, though. I wasn't laying 9 with the Bulls. I wasn't taking 9 with the Hornets, so this is just a stay away game for me altogether.
I think we look at the Hornets here.
Of the games we talked about, this is the last one I'd want to touch.
What about the other one you didn't want to touch?
I'd rather bet that game over this one.
And if I remember right,
this is the game at the end of the night where I go, why the hell did we bet on this team?
They've gone under 7 of the 9 times, or 5 of the last 5 times they've played each other. So the under here is 220 though. That's too low for me to play, even though, especially with this, I have this projected to the over here. I have this right on the number. I want to bet the Hornets here, but I don't think you're going to let me. And that's fine. We haven't been crushing lately, so we need to be discreet's not the right word. What's the word? We need to use discretion.
More selective.
Yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you, Tyler. The Minnesota Timberwolves are -3.5 here, taking on the Houston Rockets. Tyler, this was the one that I wanted to redo my projections on because I have the Rockets winning straight up. But in my head, I like the Timberwolves better, and I'm going to let you know why. They're coming off that tough loss to the Pelicans. This is the first game of the road trip, so they should be somewhat rested, and the home field advantage should be negated somewhat, as opposed to Houston getting a team that usually comes through after playing Texas or on a West Coast swing coming back home. This is the first one. Also, I think they have the size to limit Şengün, and I think he's the key to that offense. So I like Minnesota here. All I see here is Luke Garza. On the other side, Dylan Brooks, Tari Eason out. I think that helps Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels have a good night offensively. So even though, Tyler, my projections like the Rockets, I like the T-Wolves to bounce back. I think the Rockets, as much as we profited them off them this season, maybe they played a little better than they really are. What do you think?
Yeah, they've definitely exceeded expectations, but they're at home. That's why your numbers are showing that they should win this game. They've won, all their home games this year except for 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why the number's pushing you there, but I think we take Minnesota. Better matchup, better team coming off of 2 losses. I think they roll in and win this game outright. So I like Minnesota.
Yeah, I also think that one of the reasons Houston's playing so good was when they had everybody in the lineup. Their defense was so good, and they've lost 2 of their better defenders, and also that agitator, right? That Draymond Green style that Dylan Brooks brought to the team on the defensive end. So to me, it's Minnesota or pass. We'll talk about it a little more, see if we get there. I'm throwing in the rest of these projections right now, but we will move on. What do I have the Kings game at? Interesting. I don't like that projection at all. Tyler, I don't like my projections today. I should just throw these out the window. The Portland Trailblazers are +9, Tyler, in Dallas, taking on the Mavericks, who totals 236. Correct me if I'm wrong. These two teams played on Wednesday night, right?
Yeah, this is just another game, like a little zigzag game.
Is it at the same spot?
Let me look.
So they played in Dallas.
Yeah, and it's this one.
So yeah, so they didn't travel at all. Okay, so there's no real fatigue, blah, 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 blah. Both teams are kind of equal on rest there. The result of that last game was the Mavericks were 11-point favorites, and they won 126 to 197. And if we pull up the box score, they just blew them out in the first half and then just cruised to the end. On my injury report, let me pull. I was using two different sites for injuries. I see. Who is this? Is this Jarris? Oh, Jabari Walker, DeAndre Ayton, and Moses Brown are all out. That means Ibu Baji is projected to start for the Trailblazers along with Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simons, Tumari Kamara, Jeremy Grant. What, is Shaden Sharp just out? And he just doesn't show up on my thing? No, he's going to come off the bench, huh?
Yeah, he's playing.
Interesting. They're not starting him. Are you surprised they're not starting him?
I mean, he started all year. I'm not sure what's really on up in Portland. I haven't had a.
I like Simons and Sharp as my starting backcourt a little better. Okay. On the other side, Luka Doncic, Derek Lively, Marcus Morris, Grant Williams, all game time decision. Tyler, do you think they try and get some rest after completely rolling this team the other night?
I mean, I think they could. I'm not touching this game, though. I mean, look at the injury report. Luka's questionable. Lively's questionable. Grant Williams is questionable. Exum's already out. I ain't touching this game.
All right, that's fine. I agree there. What are my projections have? This is a 10-point Mavericks win, so not a huge edge. All right, Tyler, some games are going off the board while we speak. Injuries must have just dropped or something?
I'm not seeing anything. I mean, Kuminga just came across as probable, but that's it.
Okay. The Orlando Magic just got taken off my board, but when I was doing this earlier, it was Nuggets -9, total of 223. We'll see what it reopens at. I only have the Nuggets winning by 5 here. This was a spot where I originally wanted to fade the Magic coming off that double overtime game in Sacramento. And then, of course, they had played in Golden State the night before. Now they're playing in altitude. But I think that they've appropriately moved the line to take care of that fatigue. Not to mention that Denver game ended up being more high pace than I'm sure they expected last night. And it reopened at the same number for me. I'm still at -9, 223. Not a lot of changes here. I don't know. It's weird how they flash off and on the board. Okay. So I can make good arguments for both sides here, Tyler. I think this is going to be a fatigue game. This is definitely a game that shows you why the NBA schedule is too long if you really want to watch quality basketball. Orlando is 5-0 against the spread in their last 5 against Denver. The total's gone over in 6 of their last 7 trips to Denver. But Denver has won the last 5 games straight up against Orlando. I guess that makes sense. There's a difference between winning straight up and covering 9. Denver also on 8-1 straight up winning streak. Well, I don't know about streak, right? But 8-1 over the last 9. What are you talking about here, Tyler? What do you think?
I probably lean Denver in this game, but probably don't get there at 9.5. Both teams on a Denver's on a back-to-back. I believe Orlando didn't play Thursday.
Orlando's last game was double overtime 2 nights ago against Sacramento, where we got lucky to beat them.
Yeah.
But they covered.
I think Denver edges out the win, but I'm not laying 9.
Yeah, if I were to bet this game, I'd take Orlando.
I think there's better spots on the board, so I'd rather just stay away from it.
Yeah, I think you can make good arguments on both sides. The Miami Heat are plus 3.5. They're in Phoenix. They're taking on the Suns. Tyler, we don't know the status of Kevin Durant. I don't want to get involved until we do. Overall thoughts on this one? If he plays, would you want to get involved? If he sits, would you want to get involved? What do you think?
If he sits and that number's still the same, I'll take Miami. But outside of that, like I'm not betting Phoenix.
Even if he plays?
Yeah.
Bro, before they got blown out by the Clippers, they were like 4-1 over their last 5.
Yeah, but that was also off all the talk that they were going to split him up. He should leave. We know how these teams get.
Do you want to do Devin Booker props after the voting came out and Austin Reeves is ahead of him in the guards list?
Well, I mean,
thanks, Jonathan Nelson. Thanks for all your friends. Boy, who's better, Austin Reeves or Devin Booker?
No, I mean, all-star voting's the last thing I can care about spread.
But you don't think that we could get a Booker bump there?
I mean, maybe a little bit, but it's not going to force me to bet Phoenix -4.
I'm just saying it's props.
I mean, I can go look at them. I'm not sure if there's going to be anything up with KD out.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Anyways, that was just a stupid little narrative. I thought it's probably baked in there too. All right. Well, we will continue. Totals 229. What did I have this game coming in at? I have this game as a 4-point Suns win at 227. So not huge edges either way. And with all the uncertainty around the lineup, I mean, I hate to say it, but Caleb Martin actually, I would want him in there if I was on that Miami side as well. This team's really hurting with injuries. Wow. Did you see you know what, Tyler? Did you see I messed up when we bet the Magic game? Did you see how many people were on their injury report?
Yeah, I got a long one.
Wendell Carter game time decision. Fultz out, Gary Harris out, Joe out, Jonathan Isaacs, and Franz Wagner all out. That shows you how deep this team is. It should be Suggs, Cole Anthony, Anthony Black, Paulo, and Gogo Batadze. I don't think that's a bad starting lineup. I think the problem is when you get to the bench now with all those injuries, it's Caleb Houston, Chuma Okeke, Trevelyan Queen. That's an interesting name. And Mo Wagner coming off the bench. So normally Denver gets crushed in their bench minutes when Jokic is on the bench. I don't know if Orlando will take advantage of that with that lineup. All right, we're bouncing all around, but we are going to find some winners, guys. We're just talking through this slate right now. They gave us 2 games last night, yawn. Now we got 12 games to get through tonight, but we are almost done, and then we'll be back to talk some NFL. The Toronto Raptors are plus 4.5 in Sacramento, taking on the Kings. The total is 237.5. I have this projected as a 5.5-point Kings win, but I don't like the way that the Kings are playing basketball right now, Tyler. This has been really disappointing as a Kings fan, and a lot of people are writing going, what's wrong with the Kings? What's wrong with the Kings? I think that it's they've been going hard since they got Mike Brown. I think this is the inevitable lull. So I'm not ready to write off the Kings. I don't think they're as bad as they look right now. I think they are playing bad right now, but I'm not, thinking that they're going to lose their playoff spot or, fall down to the play-in. So, but at the same time, I can't back this team right now. We mentioned it earlier with the Knicks. Both teams seem to have got a boost from that trade as the Toronto Raptors have won both games since adding RJ Barrett and Emmanuel Quickly. Maybe a little bit better balance there as Siakam and OG Anunoby had a little bit of overlap in their skill sets. I think Quickly fits better with Siakam much more. Barrett giving them a little more space on that floor to work. The total is 237.5, which is low for Kings games, but we never get Raptors totals right. Kings have no one on their injury report. However, Chris Duarte is scheduled to start. What's up with that? Herder's playing that bad, huh? Take your victory lap, Clyde. And I guess they want to keep Monk there with the second lineup where he can really be dominant on the ball. On the other side, I see Gary Trent as a game-time decision. Otto Porter, remember him? He'll most likely sit. Christian Koloko sounds like the Zelda guy you should be kicking with. is out here. Tyler, I don't know what to do on this game. My projections like the Kings, but my brain likes the Raptors.
Now I'm betting this one. Kings have been stumbling. I'm not betting the Raptors away from home. I think we got 14 games. There's much better spots on the board. This is not one I want to get involved in.
All right. I don't think we want to get involved in this one either, Tyler. The Detroit Pistons are plus 10.5, taking on the Warriors, coming off that heartbreaking loss last night. How much were they ahead? It was like they're up by like 17 with like 6 minutes to go. And we would have covered that game if Jokic didn't make that shot. It killed us, Tyler, because I felt like they had all the momentum going into the overtime. But those are the breaks when you're betting, not just the NBA, but any sport. Everybody has their tales of being hooked, and we added another one to our storybook last night. Now the Pistons are plus 10.5. The total is 240. Tyler, I have this game projected. Oh, let me throw it in. I didn't put the numbers in yet. I'll put those numbers in. Break it down. What do you think?
Yeah. Again, probably not touching this game. If I had to, I'd probably take the points with Detroit. But again, 14 games, much better spots. I don't think we got to sit here and in-depthly go through a Golden State Detroit matchup.
All right. Wow, why I was so low on the Grizzlies? I think I fucked up on my Grizzlies projections. And we're just speculating, but how do you think that Kuminga going public with his dissatisfaction with Kerr's coaching affects the team tonight?
I mean, I don't think it affects it like majorly.
Kerr's just going to ignore it and do exactly what he did before?
Probably. He doesn't.
Yeah, this is. I mean, we're completely guessing here, guys, and we're not going to base our handicap off a guess. We're kind of just having a conversation for fun. I do think it's interesting. I think that's why we all like the reality show that is sports, because it's not just 2K. These aren't just the guys with the list of attributes. There's a lot of personalities involved too. And to come out and say publicly, I don't believe that this coach can get me to where I need to be as a player. I mean, that's a pretty strong statement.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't factored much of this into the breakdown, so I have really nothing on this.
That's fine. And I think it's just a fun talking piece. If you guys want to throw it in the chat, I'm just interested. I'm wondering, is Kerr gonna? I don't know if kowtow would be the right word, right? But maybe listen to some of the criticism and then let Kuminga be more involved, or is he going to double down and be like, "Fine, you want to criticize me," or are they going to come up with some illness and have them sit all together? Clyde, wow, I actually agree with you. Yeah. He did bench the wrong guy. Klay Thompson is really he needs to be coming off the bench at this point in his career. All right. We're going to keep it moving to the last game of the night, and I'm going to double check my numbers while I do this. The Memphis Grizzlies are in Los Angeles. They're taking on the Lakers. Tyler, the Grizzlies have taken money since last night. This opened at 4.5 last night. They're now plus 3.5. I'll double check the injury report. But I don't think this is injury-based news. I mean, Anthony Davis is always on the report. LeBron's always on the report. D'Angelo's not going to play. Is he really worth a lot? And Rui and Gabe Vincent are out. That actually does a lot to those Lakers' depth. So I'm sure that they're disappointed on that. On the other side, I expect to see John Morant, Marcus Smart, Desmond Bane, Jaren Jackson Jr., and Xavier Tillman in the lineup. Brandon Clark and Derrick Rose still out for the Grizzlies. Tyler, I was going to like the points. The markets agreed with me at 3.5. I don't know.
I'm taking the Grizzlies money on.
And why is that?
I think they can win this game outright. AD's the only spot that really scares me. Jaw's going to have his way with this team. I think it's the spot they can pull off the win. So I think I'd take Memphis' money on.
All right. Yeah. I mean, you don't have to work hard to talk me into betting against the Lakers here. I'm double checking my projections right now because I have this as a 9-point Lakers win. That doesn't make sense. I don't know. Okay. You know what? I just have too much of Memphis without Ja in the numbers. So those projections are worthless. Clyde, why are you doing this to me? How rude can you be? All right, Tyler, we've gone through the whole slate. What do we want to bet?
OKC, Minnesota. And that's probably it for me.
No Memphis?
I'll wait because that's a late game. I'll come back on that one.
Okay. What about Indiana?
I don't hate it. It's gonna be a high-paced game.
I'm with you on.
Those are my two spots I like, though, OKC and Minnesota.
I'm with you on Minnesota. I'm worried about OKC. I think we're laying too many points there.
I don't think so. It's not like they win close games. They win by margin.
That's a good point. Okay. Yeah, I like the Grizz a lot too.
Those would be
kind of
my
like taking the points with the Jazz and the Hornets.
I think that screams disaster waiting to happen. Both on the
which
road.
One? Which one?
Utah and the Charlotte game. They're both on the road. They're both getting into the Charlotte's only getting 10. Utah's getting 14 points, and they've played well. To me, that screams either A, that 14 is going to be an absolute gift, and they're going to be down by 5 the entire game, and they're going to lose by, say, 6 to 7.
Which is why I see it.
Or B, they go out there, and it's like, oh, this is why it was 14. Because they're
right,
down
but that's every single time we bet a huge spread. And my argument would just be that I think that your first scenario happens 55% of the time. So that's why I think I have an edge.
In Boston, and Utah's just been so bad away from home.
Okay. All right. You're right.
And Charlotte,
I know they're 6-1 against the spread in their last 7. How many of those games were at home? Let's look into this. All right. Go ahead and tell me why Charlotte sucks while I look that up.
I mean, it's Charlotte. They're still missing a ton of guys. And you look at the other side, all those out tags are now in. Patrick Williams is going to play. Vucevic is back. Not really worried about Levine being back, but he is back. Caruso's going to play. They're going to be able to beat up Charlotte inside. I just think it's a bad spot. And Vucevic being back, he could just smash them on the inside. So I think I'd just rather stay away from that one.
I like the Hornets. Back to the Jazz. I think you've talked me off. Okay. Remember I talked about Utah doing so well against the spread as of late? Yeah, because they've been playing at home. Okay, so they didn't have a nice little road trip, however, before this little home streak. So their last road trip, they lost to Cleveland, then they beat Detroit and covered, and that was when nobody played. Remember that game? Then they went up to Toronto and won straight up as an underdog. Then they went to San Antonio, won straight up as a favorite and covered. Then they lost but covered against the Pelicans because they were catching 9 and they lost by 7. Then they've won at home against Miami, at home against Dallas, and at home against Detroit, where they didn't cover because the final score was 154 to 148. Also, Utah's 20-15 against the spread, right? But on the road, they're only 8-11, and they're 12-4 at home against the spread. So, all right. I'm going to dive into Charlotte real quick, see if I can talk you in there. I think I failed in that last one. All right. Charlotte, their most recent game was beating us straight up, right?
Yeah.
Do you have them pulled up right now? I'm looking for them.
You want their recent games before that?
Yeah, let's look at them.
They took a loss to Denver, 111-93. They took a loss to Phoenix, 133-119. They took a loss to the Lakers, 133-112. They took a loss to the Clippers, 113-104. They took a loss to Denver, 102-95. Lost to the Pacers, 144-113. lost to Toronto 114-99, lost to Philly 135-82, lost to the Pelicans 112-107.
Yep. So let's go in their last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. In the last 9 games, they've been double-digit dogs. 0-3, 2-3, 2-4, 3-4, 3-5. Yeah, they're 4-5 as double-digit dogs.
And that's when they're catching like 15, 16, not 10.
Yeah. All right. Final one. Okay. Failure once again. Final one I want to talk to you about is Indiana. I have a nice little edge there.
I'd be fine with that one.
What would our concerns be? So how do we lose this bet? Just Trey goes off. How do these teams do against each other? Do you have the last couple times they played each other? Does Trey do well here?
I can get it pulled up. Hold on.
Jason Graham in the chat joining us. What's up, buddy? What the heck? My shit just reset.
They played that most recent game on November 21st, and that was the one that got to 300 points. We had, let's see. Trae Young had 38 points and 8 assists. DeJounte Murray had 28.
There's 300 points. The stats don't matter. Well, how much who won and by how much?
Pacers won by 5 in Atlanta.
And where was that at?
In Atlanta.
I said we take the Pacers, bro.
I'm fine with that. I'd rather take the Pacers over the other two you tried to talk me into.
Bro, Jazz are going to cover. All right. So the official plays will be Indiana. You really like OKC?
I don't get why we're scared of them. They lost one game.
All right. You talked me into it. You talked me into it. And are we taking the Timberwolves against the whole world being on the Rockets?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't do that money split shit, but just from listening to people and being on Twitter this morning, it feels like everybody loves Houston here. Hell, even my projections love them. All right, Pacers, Thunder. We got to take more dogs, bro. T-Wolves. That's what we got so far. If we have anything else, we're going to add it to the sheet and tweet it out. There was a couple games that we were waiting on an injury report for, right, Tyler?
Yeah.
The Mavericks and the Blazers, I think, are interesting. The Suns and the Heat, I think, is interesting if we get that news on KD. And I really want to see what goes on with the Warriors, even if we don't bet it, right? I just think that situation's fascinating. I've never heard that quote before. Have you?
What?
I mean, just the specific quote. I mean, just to be so. I've heard I want to get traded. I don't fit in. I need to change of scenery. But I've never heard this coach can't get me to be the player that I can become.
Yeah, that's a weird one. Somebody said that he called up Shams, and instead of demanding a trade or trying to get his way out, he basically just called Shams and said, fuck Steve Kerr.
Yeah. And it's funny, but you know why everything's funny? It's funny when it's true. If you just say stupid shit, it's not funny. But if it's rooted in truth, then it's hilarious. And that's exactly what he did. All right, we have 3 plays for now. Remember to check that FanSpeak page if we add some more. What are we waiting on for the Grizz?
Nothing.
If AD and LeBron get ruled in, do you think we get back to 4.5 and we can bet again?
I think so.
I say we jump in on the Grizz if the line moves back to 4.5.
I'm fine with that.
Okay. Other dogs that I was interested in, I do like the Heat. I did like the Magic until that injury report, bro. What the hell? And the Knicks +6 is another one that I was considering. Final thoughts on that game, Tyler. I'm sorry, I don't remember what you said. Did you like the Knicks or the Sixers there?
If I had to take the Knicks, I'd take their money line because they've won the matchups or they've gotten blown out. So probably just a stay away spot for me.
Can you Do you have that up still? Can you tell me what that was?
What?
When the most recent matchups were, and when the blowouts were, and when the wins were?
Let me go back and get it.
All right. This is the NBA Rundown brought to you by Nuke the House. Guys, please hit that thumbs up. Tyler's going to give us that information. We'll give out the official plays one more time. Then we're going to take a quick, about 3 to 4 minute break. We're going to be back talking week 18.
Doesn't look like they've played
in the
yet
NFL.
this year. This is all from last year. February 10th, February 5th, December 25th, November 4th, March 2nd.
What was the season record last year?
So 1-0, 1-1, 2-2.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like the Knicks +6.
I think we're fine with where we got. I don't think we just talked about being selective, and now we're trying to fill up the sheet. I think we should just stick with the ones we got.
Fair enough. Guys, this is the NBA Rundown. The official plays are the Indiana Pacers, the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Minnesota Timberwolves. We'll be back in 6 minutes talking the NFL. Please join us. Love to see you guys in the chat. Even you, Clyde. Nuke the house.